Imagine sitting in a crowded hall, every eye on you, knowing what you're about to say could change how the world sees your people forever. Ibrahim Traoré's voice trembled, not from fear, but from the weight of the moment. Then, in a simple but shattering sentence, he said something that left millions around the world in tears, and Africa holding its breath. It was an ordinary afternoon in Los Angeles. But inside one auditorium, something extraordinary is about to unfold. Michelle Obama had taken the stage, her presence commanding yet comforting. A global leadership summit had drawn some of the world's most influential voices, and the former First Lady of the United States was among the most anticipated speakers. With every word, she inspired. With every pause, she invited reflection. She spoke of global unity, climate justice, education for all, political reform in developing nations. The audience listened intently, applauding and nodding. And then she turned a page. The name of a small West African nation emerged. Burkina Faso, she said, her voice steady, eyes reading carefully. She adjusted her glasses. Under the leadership of Ibrahim Traoré, we've seen some impressive strides, yes. But also, cause for concern. There was a hush. While the world applauds progress, we must always question power. Transparency. Accountability. Are these changes truly empowering the people, or are they simply consolidating control? The audience listened. Some applauded. Others furrowed their brows. Around the world, screens lit up with debates, commentaries, and hashtags. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away, a different reaction was unfolding. President Ibrahim Traoré sat in his office, watching the broadcast. No aides stirred. No phones buzzed. Only the voice of Michelle Obama carried through the room. When it ended, he did not react with anger or frustration. His response was still. Then, finally, he spoke. "Prepare a response," he said to the small group around him. "But not to defend. To clarify. To show the world our truth." Traoré took to the podium. No teleprompter. No rehearsed script. Just heart and history. He looked into the camera, eyes steady. "Mrs. Michelle Obama," he began, his voice composed but resolute, "your concern is noted. And it is welcomed. But let me make something clear." He paused. "Our movement is not about grasping power. It is about reclaiming dignity." He reached for a worn photograph beside him. He held it up. A family stood in front of a modest house, solar panels glinting behind them. This family lived in darkness. Now their children study under light. This isn't power. This is justice. He continued, unwavering. "Yes, we face challenges. Corruption. Instability. But these did not begin yesterday. These are the scars of colonial legacy and decades of external control. What we are doing is healing, restructuring, reclaiming our right to define our future." His words did not defend. They revealed. And then something extraordinary happened. Africa listened. And Africa felt every word. In villages and cities, from the Sahel to the Cape, people heard more than just a leader speaking. They heard someone understanding. Someone belonging. Someone fighting. The hashtags weren't just digital echoes. They were chants. Young Africans began to stand taller. Elders nodded in silent recognition. Finally, many whispered, "Someone is saying what we've always known." Michelle Obama watched every word. She listened. And for a moment, she didn't see a rebuttal. She saw a reality. In a later interview, she reflected on the moment. "I underestimated the context," she admitted, her voice sincere. President Traoré's response was honest. "It moved me. We must listen before we judge. And we must remember that dignity looks different from where you stand." Her humility was praised. But the world's eyes remained on Africa. Scene transitions to a rural school in Burkina Faso. Children run, laughing. Desks filled. A chalkboard with the word, "Hope," written in French, a spoiler. Weeks after the press conference, President Traoré visited a small school built through the New Development Fund. A young girl walked up to him, shyly. In her hands was a crumpled drawing. A house. A sun. A smiling stick figure holding a book. "I can dream now," she said softly, He knelt beside her and smiled. "Good," he replied. "Never stop dreaming." That moment said more than any speech. Because at its core, leadership is not about policy. It is about possibility.